Hi. In this episode, I'm joined by writer-director Anthony Shim and actor-producer Andrea Agur. I've had the pleasure of working with both of them as teacher and director, and today we will talk about the springboard effect of training with others and how their theater background has provided a foundation for them in the film industry. Hello, Anthony Shim.
Hello, Kitwa.
Hello, Andrea Agur.
Hello, Kate.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So good to see you guys. Of course, everything with you guys is going to be different. So, as opposed to us supplying the wine, Andrea and Anthony have brought a very special bottle from Summerhill Winery in Kelowna.
Yep.
Now, what attracted you to this, and why are you bringing it to us and not keeping it to yourselves?
Well, we adore you, so we thought we'd share our abundance. This was Summerhill Winery is a biodynamic winery in Kelowna, and we've been out wine tasting and touring, and we just felt that this really represented sort of a really interesting way to make wine in the Okanagan, and we love what they're doing, and each of their wines is so interesting because they don't do everything is sort of natural. They use a lot of natural processes in their
I'm so excited. Look at me.
making of their wine. So yeah, we love what they're doing. We want to support them, and each bottle is really interesting. It's fascinating.
They were all so good, and then we actually haven't tried this.
Oh, so
Yes.
So
this is the first
We
one.
went through the wine list. We thought we'd just start with some of the whites, and then we drank all the whites, and then we thought we'd just have a couple reds, and we tried all the reds. And this was the only one that we couldn't test.
and then we just bought all of them.
Oh, and
Yeah.
you guys can't stand it when someone says no.
No. We're like,
Who would
we
I-
want that one, the one we're not allowed.
Who would know that better than me? Cheers.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing this special wine from Summerhill.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna cheers.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
we were well taken care of.
let's talk a little bit about how we know each other.
You go first. You were the OG.
Well, Kate was going for a walk along a creek, and I was in a basket.
What? She was
As a-
going for a walk
yeah.
along the creek, and I was going.
I was just a baby in a basket, and she found me.
Very biblical.
Yeah, and then she baptized me in that creek. and
Well,
then-
I was walking along the KVR, and
Yeah.
I tried to jump into a bush to.
that actually is
avoid
this
her.
is true. True, right?
And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I have nowhere to go, and then I ran into her and got scooped up to Railtown.
Mhm.
So
That's real.
That's real.
that's real.
I was like, Andrea Agur?
Yeah.
What?
We met. It's crazy. It's almost 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago, we went to Lyric. I knew nothing.
And that was the first studio you had.
Yeah, yeah, and just a
It's been a long history.
Yeah.
A very long history, a lot of projects. You were in our first film, Gods of Youth. You were one of the stars of Gods of Youth.
When was that?
God's view.
Yeah.
Well, we started shooting in 1992, and then we finished around 2008. It was crazy though. It was actually so funny because you could see in certain scenes where we had to reshoot like a year later.
Right.
My neck was thicker,
That
and
was
my hair length was like
I
just
know.
so all over the place.
I know.
Oh my god.
I know. First independent film, but hey, it's started the whole. Started for me anyway. It started the whole desire to continue to find ways to make films, right? To be able to take these actors that we had such bonds and such trust and keep developing and see how many tentacles can come out of this initial creative force which you were a part of, and you came not too long afterwards.
Yeah.
And now you're producing, and Anthony, now you're writing and directing. So actor and instructor and writer and director, actor and producer, like there's people exploring depths that and extensions of who they thought they might be, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, it is really exciting. It's sort of such a platform that we got to play, really, and then feel supported in that, and then kind of see like, well, what else can we do?
Yeah.
What else can we try? What else can we get our hands into? Like, I mean, starting at Railtown as a student, and then as a student of yours, and then as a student of Anthony's, and working, you know, trying to do our own, you know, theater company, trying that.
Well, you did that.
Did that in Vancouver, you know, with a bunch of other Railtown students, which was amazing and a lot of fun, and learned a lot. But it's sort of been a springboard for us, and
Well,
continues
you've
to
been
be.
springboards for each other, and we've
Yeah.
talked about that a lot. I mean, there's healthy kind of like, well, can I borrow your camera, or do you know what, you know, because making a movie is a big deal. It's
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah, it
No
is.
matter what the size, it's hard. It's hard work, and it takes a lot. And your first movie that you wrote and directed was Daughter, and you were a producer on that.
Would you like another drink?
No, thank you.
Oh, come on. It's lonesome drinking alone.
Then don't drink.
It's even more lonesome.
That was that year. We were all building this place,
Tempest.
and you know, like that was like we were laying the floor. We were ordering these curtains. We were in the thick of construction. Remember, building this place and having. Remember the ceiling and having that sawdust come out, and we were up to like what 3 or 4 feet without, like, no joke, in sawdust with stuff coming out of this from the ceiling.
Yep.
It was a
old
labor
shoes.
of and like these old newspapers, and we're like, what else is up there?
Yeah.
It was amazing, like just the transformation, and to watch the transformation. So yeah, we were in the thick of it. And
But when haven't we all been in the thick of something?
Oh my
I mean,
God, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were helping build Tempest.
Yeah.
You were you starting Daughter.
yep.
And then
so we
Well,
came
no,
back.
that also came out of Railtown Lab.
Right.
You know, when people ask about that film, I've been describing it as an exercise that just went too far. Because we were
Because it became a film.
yeah.
And it
Yeah.
opened the Vancouver International Film Festival.
Well, the BC spotlight, not the festival. That was Adam Goen. I don't want to take the wrong credit. But no, that was we were, you know, Brian and I, we were just trying to figure out stuff to do for Railtown Lab. And then I wrote this 1-act play that I wanted to do for Railtown Lab at that space. And then I decided, this maybe could be a movie. Because I wanted to shoot, I also edit my own movies, thanks to Ronan. Ronan taught me how to edit, and I really love editing. To me, it's as enjoyable as writing, because I think it's the same thing. You're sculpting a story with pictures, not words.
Yeah.
And so I was actually looking for something to edit or practice editing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll write this thing, and then we'll shoot it on like the 5D that Ronan gave me, and then I'll just practice editing, and then maybe one day I'll have the courage to make a movie. And then John came on board, and he said,
John Cassini.
Yes, John Cassini came on board, and he was the one that said, you could actually just make this, and it could be a real movie. And it was so so it was just it was
a natural.
it's so
fit.
loose, and
Yeah.
just kind of figuring out as we're going.
And we were all learning on that first project. That was
As you do.
As you do,
Right.
you know, so it's fascinating. It was interesting, and how everybody came together, and a lot of Railtown kids and all of us. And it was a beautiful project. I mean, there were Leo nominated performances, and
I guess this is a difference between film and theater, is that theater, you do it, it exists in that moment, and if good or bad, it's, you know, if it's bad, and I've done plenty of bad plays, and, you know, it hurts for that time. And, you know, and you just lay low for a couple weeks. But then after that,
you just don't go out,
yeah,
of your house.
well, it's humiliating.
Right. So groceries, just
I lay low,
delivery. Right.
I stay in my bedroom,
Yeah.
and let people forget about the play I've just done.
So dramatic.
And then you move on, and then hopefully people forgot about the last one. But the thing with movies is that it just exists forever. I don't
It's
know
like
how.
processed food.
Yeah, you can't delete it.
You can't get rid
You can't
of
get
it.
and you can't get away from it.
You know, and it's like it's it's kind of like having like the public see your like teenage school photos. It's awkward. It's awkward. Like
I mean, that's the thing about first films, right?
Mhm.
Is that when you get some time away from it, you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, you're just trying to make it work. You don't have any
survival
money.
mode.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
in survival mode, and you don't, and but I mean, that's kind of fun. Then you got to prepare, and you got more support,
Yeah.
and you got a little more time and space with your second film called Rice Boy Sleeps.
Hmm.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to make
Another
this movie.
one,
Like random people. They didn't even ask me. I would just tell people. I'm like, so I'm making this new movie.
Like at the grocery store or just anybody who would listen.
Our publicist, I just told her randomly, I'm like, guess what? I'm gonna make another movie like right now. And she's like, okay. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this movie, and it's gonna be about like this, like Korean single mother and her son, and then it's gonna be like about their trials and tribulations as an immigrant family in Vancouver during the early '90s, and then they're gonna go to Korea. And I want to make it for $1 million.
I'm in.
I said
I'm
it.
in.
I said it because it's like it just
Yeah.
seemed like
Yeah.
kind of like back in the day when
Crazy. Just
$1
like-
million was worth a lot of money. People said like, oh, I want $1 million. Like it was that kind of thing. I was just like, I'll make a movie for $1 million and it'll be a real movie. Like there was no thought or plan behind it, and I just said it, and I just kept telling people, and I told my friends, and they were like, oh, cool. Can I
Yeah.
read the script? I'm like, I hadn't written it.
About that, we'll get there.
And so then I met with Lauren at Telefilm, and then I told her too. I was like, so I want to make this movie, and it's about this and this and that, and I want to make it for this much money. What do you think? She was like, well, you could do that, and these are the steps that you have to take, and so I did it. I went like, I'm gonna do this one more time, and if it doesn't work, then it ain't for me.
Right.
So
Direct. Write and direct.
writing
one
and
more
direct,
time.
making movies.
Yeah.
Making movies.
Okay.
And so I just thought, let's make this thing as personal as I can possibly make it, because to be honest, the world didn't need another coming of age story about a filmmaker's own childhood. It's like, there's so many of them out there, so many great ones, that there's a part of me that was like, oh man, like it's never gonna like be like 400 Blows or Taika Waititi's like Boy, like, or there's so many versions that was like they're so great and so specific.
This
And I
is
was like,
also the second film that we were doing.
but nonetheless, like
Yeah.
Truffaut's
True.
400 Blows
True,
was his
true,
first
true. That
film.
was- yeah,
So
you're right.
like,
Yeah, you're right.
that aside, I just,
Yeah.
I thought like the only way for this to have
Yeah.
any place in the world, for it to not just be something that people can roll their eyes at, is to make it as specific and as personal as possible. So I did. And then people gathered and
And you got support
we did get support from Lauren at
from
Telefilm.
Lauren Davis at
Yeah.
Telefilm
Yeah.
and Telefilm itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, oh my God, like, how did you write this so fast? I saw you like 2 months ago. I mean, she even said, she's like, it's not like there yet, but there's enough, once again, like enough that's like personal, and that's,
But then it accelerated quite quickly.
it did, yeah. I have this, like, I intentionally write characters. I intentionally don't write characters that I could play, because I don't want that temptation. And so I'd written this character to be South Asian for the character was South Asian for the longest time. And then through feedback and notes and stuff, it was suggested that like, oh wow, this might be more interesting if he was also Korean, and so then it made sense, and I wrote it that way. But then I also made the character much older, so I couldn't play it, and then one thing led to another.
What's next?
I feel very similar to the way I felt after making Daughter, of like, we did this, we've learned so much. I've learned so much. I want to try it again as quickly as possible because I feel like I can do it better. And I feel like there's more to explore. And
Still in film?
yes, and I feel that now, and largely because we found the most amazing creative collaborators.
Yeah.
Our like
we really
the DP
have.
that I mentioned, our production designer, our costume designer,
Costume.
our makeup artist. Like we found such a incredible community of artists that I just adore, and I think are some of the most talented people I've met in their respective fields. But yeah.
Well, we look really forward to hearing more about what's going to happen with Rice Boy Sleeps and what's going to happen with the next one. And I want to get you here to do some writing and get you here to do anything you want.
Oh man.
I always put the challenge out, right?
Yeah.
Because the thought of getting back on stage usually makes people go,
Yeah.
you know?
It does, and like what have you said earlier about like not having fear? I just want to say like leave me out of that because
Not
I gotta
having
say
fear?
I find myself more fearful as time goes on.
In what sense?
I feel more confident in what I do, but that element of fear,
Is it because the stakes are raising?
maybe,
Or
but
expectation? Or
I mean, you know this better than anyone else. Like, I was just a theater nerd. I just like I got into this not because I wanted to be a star or, you know, a movie star or a famous I just liked plays
yeah, same.
and I liked
Same.
hanging out in a theater.
Yeah, same. I still do.
And then
Yeah.
it like I could have cared less if nobody ever acknowledged what I did or saw what I did. I liked the process of it, and not to sound like super artsy fartsy about it, but I still feel that way. Like I love the process of it, and I think even right now, like knowing that this thing I've made with my friends, like these are all my friends, the people I love, and my family came out and helped. Like this is a
Yeah.
little thing I did with my friends and family, and to know that it's going to get out and whatever happens, good or bad, like it's terrifying.
And it's
And
so personal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so personal.
And then that'll have some kind of effect on the life that I've led to this point, which has been so joyous, hard and stressful and challenging at times, as it is for anyone in this industry, but it is scary because at the end of the day, I feel really protective of that, of my need to just be the same person that I've always been, of just like really loving the process of creating things. So I find my anxiety and my like fear levels increasing, while you know it's conflicting with my ambitions and you know curiosity.
Yeah.
But definitely the fear is there, and for acting too, like it's just like the thought of acting just before it was like acting.
Yeah.
I got this. Like when, where, how. Like just let me know, I'll do it. But these days, like that makes me sweat more than anything else.
I can see it.
And I think it's the time. That's when now you know it's the time to do it. And I feel like, I mean, growing up in the Okanagan, it lends itself, like as you said, to just so many different skill sets, because you have to sort of, you're like, oh, we're doing theater, oh, and we're doing film, oh, and we're taping, and we're training, and we're creating our own content, and so I feel like the Okanagan raises these and creates these very adaptable creators. And so for me, and I feel like I'm so excited by trying new things and pushing those limits and seeing what's possible. Like that just on the other side is always so exciting to me, because I'm like, well, what's the worst that can happen? It sucks. So what? It will suck less this time than we did last time. And I feel like for films and for projects, and especially for you know, whatever we do next, I like pushing those boundaries.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Cheers, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
You did.
How did you
I
drink that
almost
so
thought you were
fast?
just gonna go straight to the bottle. You thought about it.
If there was no camera, I probably would.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming,
Thank
and
you.
all the best with Rice Boy Sleeps and the
Yeah.
next projects and everything else. And keep on coming by.
We will.